What is up, guys? Welcome to the AP Literature Podcast. Today, we will be talking about A Thousand Splendid Suns, which is Khaled Hosseini's other book. Hosseini has followed that up with the story of a sister-laced story of redemption through Afghanistan, still in Kabul. Although, the main character, Mariam, who we will now talk about, was not born there. Mariam was actually born in the wonderful city of Herat, where her father was a wealthy wealthiest businessman, and her mother is in poverty. Why is that the case? Well, her mother and her father had an illegitimate relationship, and Mariam is an illegitimate child. Well, in Afghan society, this is a big no-no, right? This will most definitely damage her father's social status because he's a businessman, and her mother's nobody important, right? So this kind of leads to Mariam and her mother's one of the most important conversations in the book, right? Where Mariam's mother, Nana, says, "Learn this now, and learn this well, my daughter. Like a compass needle that points north, a man's accusing finger always finds a woman." Right. So this is kind of one of the main themes of the book, where male power kind of dominates over women. Right. The men versus women in that culture. Right. After Miriam's mother tells her this, right. Miriam's mother is really speaking with the purpose of trying to, like, with love, right? She wants her daughter to be loyal to her, because Nana is loyal to Mariam, right? She is doing everything in her power to stop Mariam from going in the same path as she did. Unluckily, Mariam is young. She does not follow this advice. She decides to seek out her father instead, who entrances her, right? Nana kills herself, right? And then Mariam now has no home. She has to turn to her father to provide for her, right? But then Jalil, being the man that he is, right? Compass needle that points north, man's accusing finger will always find a woman, right? Men are evil. So Jalil instead her nice house, right? And instead of letting them live in a nice area together, as father and daughter, Jalil decides to leave her in poverty. He decides to marry her off to his friend, Rashid, who lives in Kabul, right? So they go to Kabul. Initially, Rashid is like really nice, right? Rashid really teaches her the ropes of being a housewife. He's her out of it, right? But then, being the man that he is, like commanding respect, Rashid doesn't hide his desire, right? Rashid had lost his prior wife and son, and he's 45, where Mariam is 15. But he still doesn't hide the fact that he wants a son, right? He lost his only son, so now he needs an heir, right? So he wants Mariam to provide that heir. So eventually, they try to have a child. However, Mariam miscarriages again. Okay, Rashid becomes full-on abusive because Mariam is unable to give him a child. This is where it cuts to Layla's story, right? Layla has the complete opposite upbringing as Mariam. Right, she went to school. She had a childhood friend. Soviets and the Taliban rise up, right? When they start fighting, her house gets shelled, right? She has a childhood friend named Tarek, right? They have kind of a Romeo and Juliet relationship, although that's not entirely accurate at the moment. But her house gets shelled. Tarek moves away from Afghanistan due to all the fighting. And then her parents are both killed. Her brothers are killed in battle. She is the only one left in Afghanistan. Luckily for her, she is alive. However, unluckily, the person that finds her is Rashid. Is New Hope. He is able to become a father. Maybe this one won't miscarriage, right? Mariam had already. Eventually, Rashid finds out about Tariq, right? So then is extremely unhappy, right? He wants to dominate his two wives, right? He is the man of the house. He's the most powerful. He cannot have these secret things going on behind his back. So he tries to kill Layla. While he is trying to kill Layla, Miriam bashes his head in with a shovel, ending his reign. Well, this is kind of representative of the book's themes of innocence and redemption as a whole. Um, Miriam initially lost her innocence through running away from her mother. Her mother commits suicide, but this also an act of betrayal, right? She betrayed her mother's love for her, and instead she chose to be loyal to her father instead. And her father betrayed Miriam. Miriam's father betrayed Miriam because he did not take her in, though he had the power to do so. So that's kind of the double betrayal, right? And then instead, Miriam is sent to live with Rashid, uh, leading up to her life being hell, right? Miriam eventually realizes with Layla that she doesn't really want Layla to have the same life as she did, right? Miriam's parents kind of left her in the dust, and Layla still kind of has her innocence, right? Even though Rashid is still abusive to both of them, Layla is able to keep her head high. Miriam protects her by killing Rashid and taking on the sin of murder, so then Layla can run away. So this is kind of Miriam's redemption, where she, instead of following in the paths of her mother and father, instead of staying actionless, she takes action and saves Layla. Another big theme in the book is the theme of women and men being completely different, right? Uh, a quote in, like earlier we were talking about how men always blame women with the Nana's words. At the end of the book, it ends with the same theme where the judge, while uh, talking to Miriam about execution, he says, "God has made us differently. You women and us men, our brains are different. This is why we require only one male witness and two females ones." That's kind of a religious allusion, right, to Adam and Eve, where Eve was made out of one half of Adam's ribs. But it's also allusion to the situation in Rashid's household, right, where there's two wives and only one. There's two wives, but only one male. Yet the male is able to dominate over the two wives. Hosseini kind of describes this as like unjust, even though it is. He kind of presents it as a fact of the culture, but it is also presented in a way that this is unjust, right? He wants the hero to be the woman in this book, not the men. So that's kind of a thousand splendid suns. If you read The Kite Runner, you would like this book. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Realistically, thank you.